Starwatch Academy floated in orbit above the blue-white swirl of Vexor Prime, looking like a crown of steel and light. Cadets from every known star system gathered there, hoping to become officers of the Galactic Coalition. Some came from proud warrior species. Others came from planets known for advanced sciences or ancient traditions. And then, on a quiet morning shift, a single small transport shuttle drifted toward Docking Bay 7 with one new human aboard. Her name was Lyra Vance. She stepped out of the shuttle with a single bag slung over her shoulder. Her uniform was clean but plain. Her boots had no custom plating or metals. She carried herself with calm, steady movements, to calm, some would say. She did not look like someone who had fought battles or survived great dangers. She seemed like a normal girl from a normal Earth colony, and that, of course, made her an instant target. The docking bay was full of noise. Cadets chatted loudly, exchanging stories from their home worlds. Lyra walked through them quietly, her eyes scanning the signs on the walls to find where she needed to go. She did not react to the curious stares. She did not react to the whispers. She simply walked. A tall Saurian cadet named Drezg, with scales the color of polished bronze, nudged his insectoid friend Crixa. That is the human transfer. She is so small. Are they sending children now? His deep voice carried easily across the bay. Crixa clicked her mandibles in amusement. Maybe her colony is too peaceful. Humans from the core worlds usually have some fire in them. But this one, she looks soft. Nearby, a telepathic aristocrat named Vorin, pale and elegant, watched Lyra with faint amusement. She has no mental guards, he murmured. Her presence is like a whisper. I imagine her training scores will be equally quiet. The three shared a laugh. Lyra heard none of it, or she pretended not to. She simply reached the reception desk, gave her name, and waited for her dorm assignment. The officer handed her a data slate. Dorm Wing C. Room 14. Orientation briefing in 30 minutes. Welcome to Starwatch, Cadet Vance. Lyra nodded politely. Thank you, sir. She walked out without another word. The corridors of Starwatch Academy were wide and polished, designed for many species of many sizes. Holographic banners told stories of great coalition victories. Past cadets looked down from digital portraits on the walls, their achievements glowing underneath. Lyra did not look at any of them as she entered the dorm wing. A small feathered cadet almost bumped into her. He was carrying a stack of training manuals taller than his head. His wings fluttered in panic. Oh, sorry. Very sorry. I did not see you. Lyra gently steadied the wobbling pile. It's okay. Do you need help? The avian blinked his bright yellow eyes. No, I can manage. I am Trell. You must be the new human. Yes, Lyra. Welcome. Trell chirped warmly. If you need anything, just ask. Some of the cadets here can be loud. Do not let them bother you. She simply smiled. I won't. Trell nodded, then hurried down the hall. Lyra watched him go, a faint softness in her eyes. Then she moved toward her room and stepped inside. Her dorm room was small but clean. Standard issue bed, desk, storage unit. A large window looked out into open space. Stars drifted slowly beyond the glass. Lyra set down her bag and took a deep breath. The academy felt different from the places she had been before. Quieter, lighter, almost safe. She hoped it would remain that way. 30 minutes later, orientation began. Hundreds of cadets gathered in the main training hall, a massive chamber filled with floating screens and rotating holographic maps of the galaxy. Instructor Commander Rollix, a stern-looking reptilian veteran with cybernetic limbs, stepped onto the central platform. His voice boomed through the hall. Welcome to Starwatch Academy. You are here because you have shown potential. But potential is not enough. You will be tested. You will be pushed. Some of you will break. Some of you will rise. Holograms shifted, displaying training courses, combat arenas, and simulation rooms. You will learn to pilot, to command, to strategize. You will learn discipline. You will learn teamwork. And above all else, you will learn the cost of failure. Lyra listened calmly. her face unreadable. Drezk. Krixa. And Vorin stood a short distance away, whispering among themselves, occasionally glancing at her with smirks when Commander Rollix finished. The cadets were dismissed to prepare for their first day assessments. Assessments were simple: basic movement drills, zero gravity, handling marksmanship with non-lethal beams, reaction. Timing. Each cadet would receive a starting performance score. Lyra moved to her assigned lane without complaint. The drills began. She completed every task with controlled precision, but not at the highest level. Her zero-gravity movements were smooth but slow. Her aim was accurate but average. Her reflex score ranked near the center of the group. The instructor monitoring her station frowned slightly. Cadet Vance, are you feeling well? These scores are moderate. Lyra simply nodded. Yes, sir. She said nothing more. Dresk, passing by, let out a low, mocking chuckle. Did you get the instructions, human? You are supposed to try. Krixa tapped her mandibles in amusement. Maybe she is saving her strength for nap time. Vorin smiled delicately. Be kind. She may simply be unused to real training. It must be very different from her quiet colony life. Their laughter rose again. Lyra only continued her tasks. Quietly. But one person noticed something strange. Trell stood near the far wall, watching her closely. His small avian eyes narrowed as he observed the subtle way her feet always found perfect balance points, or how her hands never shook even during rapid-fire drills. She moved too cleanly to be average. She is holding back, Trell whispered to himself. He could not prove it, but he knew. Later in the day, physical combat basics began. Cadets paired up, practicing defensive stances and simple strikes under supervision. Lyra was paired with a large, reptilian girl, who outweighed her by at least 50 kilos. Try not to break. Human, the reptilian cadet said with a grin. Lyra simply nodded. I'll be careful. The match began. The reptilian charged forward with a heavy arm strike. Lyra sidestepped, not quickly, not sharply. Just enough. She tapped the cadet's shoulder with a gentle counter motion. Point Vance, the instructor said. The reptilian frowned. She attacked again. Harder. Lyra stepped around her once more, smooth and light, placing a hand lightly against her opponent's back to show she could have pushed her. Point Vance. Frustrated. The reptilian swung wildly. Lyra ducked. Again. She did not strike back. She simply dodged. Point Vance. By now, the surrounding cadets were murmuring. Some impressed. Some irritated treads scoffed loudly. Cheap trick. She is afraid to fight. Vorin nodded. She wins by accident, not skill. Krixa clicked sharply. She is not warrior material. The instructor ended the round. Cadet Vance, your technique is unusual. Lyra nodded quietly. I just wanted to avoid hurting her. The instructor raised an eyebrow. These are practice sessions. You may strike. Yes, sir. I understand. But even then, she did not strike. By the evening meal, rumors had already spread. The human transfer is weak. The new girl can't keep up. She dodges but never fights. Probably never saw a real battle. The cafeteria buzzed with low murmurs and curious glances. Lyra sat alone at a small table, eating quietly. Trell approached her with a friendly wave. May I sit? She nodded. Of course. Trell hopped onto the seat. Do not listen to what others are saying. First days are always difficult. Lyra took a slow bite. It's fine. I'm used to being the quiet one, yes, but... Trell studied her with a slight tilt of his head. You could have scored higher. I saw your footwork, your balance, the way your eyes track everything. That is not beginner training. Lyra paused. Her expression remained calm. I just prefer to stay unnoticed. Trell lowered his voice. That is not possible here anymore. Before she could answer, Dresk and his two friends strode past their table. Dresk smirked. Enjoying your peaceful dinner, human? Don't get too comfortable. Tomorrow, we have class sparring. Let us hope you do more than run away. Krixa laughed. Maybe we should go easy on her. Vorin added. Or maybe she will surprise us with another ordinary performance. Lyra stayed silent. When they left, Trell sighed. They won't stop, you know. Not until you show them something. Lyra looked down at her hands. They were steady. Too steady. I don't want to show anything, she said softly. Terrell smiled sadly. Then this academy will be a long journey for you, Lyra nodded. Because deep down, she knew he was right. Later that night, Lyra stood alone by her dorm window. The stars outside seemed so close, scattered across the dark like silver dust. She touched the glass lightly. This time will be different, she whispered to herself. She wanted peace. She wanted a normal life. She wanted to be just another cadet, but the galaxy rarely allowed humans to stay ordinary. And tomorrow, the cadets who mocked her would come one step closer to discovering why. For now, though, Lyra closed her eyes and breathed in the quiet before everything changed. The next morning began with the sharp blare of the academy alarm. The sound echoed through the dorm halls, bouncing off the metal walls and waking every cadet with an energy that was almost violent. Lyra Vance opened her eyes quietly. She had already been awake for some time, sitting on the edge of her bed and staring at the stars through her window. The silence before dawn was always a comfortable place for her, but silence never lasted here. The academy halls were buzzing the moment she stepped outside. Cadets of different species moved quickly, some excited, others nervous. Today was the first real combat training day, full-class sparring and tactical drills. This was the day most new cadets either earned respect or lost it. Lyra walked calmly toward Training Hall 4. She felt no fear, no tension, just a quiet wish that everything would pass without getting complicated. But Starwatch Academy was a place where complications grew like weeds. When she entered Training Hall 4, she saw the massive arena floor already bustling with activity. The arena was circular, surrounded by raised observation platforms. Floating drones recorded every movement, analyzing speed, strength, precision, and mistakes. Commander Rollix stood in the center, arms behind his back, cybernetic eyes sweeping across the cadets with mechanical precision. Form ranks. We begin now, he barked. Cadets rushed into formation. Lyra took her place in the human line. Dresk, Krixa, and Vorin stood across the arena with the advanced track cadets, looking proud and confident. Vorin noticed Lyra and gave a small, amused smile. Look, she showed up. That is a good start. Dresk's deep rumble of laughter followed. Let us see if she stays conscious after the first round. Krixa clicked her mandibles sharply. She dodged yesterday, but today she must actually fight. I doubt she can. Trell fluttered to Lyra's side. Ignore them. Their mouths are bigger than their skills. Well, Dresk's mouth is big in general, but you understand my point. Lyra gave a faint smile. It's fine. Commander Rollix began his briefing. Today's test will measure combat readiness, instinct, teamwork, and adaptability. You will face both solo and team exercises. Do not hold back. This is not a performance for your classmates. It is for your future. His eyes landed briefly on Lyra. She simply looked back calmly. The first drill was simple sparring. Not the soft introductory sparring of the previous day. This was full contact with protective gear, but no holding back. Cadets were called in pairs. Lyra watched match after match. Some were messy and chaotic. Others were sharp and calculated. Dresk crushed his opponent with brute force. Krixa overwhelmed hers with rapid strikes. Vorin used graceful mental distractions to mislead his partner. They strutted after every victory then. Names flashed on the screen overhead. Lyra Vance versus Rorish, Dotris Katha, Arena murmured. Terrell made a soft choking sound. What? That is not fair. Dresk is from a warrior lineage. He is huge. He is. Lyra simply stepped forward. Dresk grinned, showing rows of sharp teeth. Finally, time to see what the quiet girl is made of. They approached the center of the arena. Lyra stood lightly, hands relaxed at her sides. Dresk loomed over her like a wall of scaled muscle. Commander Rollix raised a hand. Begin. Dresk charged instantly. Lyra moved, but she did not counter. She did not attack. She stepped aside just far enough that Dresk's heavy lunge passed harmlessly by. The crowd made a soft wave of surprise. Dresk spun around faster this time, using his tail for momentum. He swung a powerful arm strike. Lyra leaned back. The strike missed her nose. By one breath, Crixa laughed loudly from the sidelines. She dodges again. Just like yesterday. Vorin smirked. Maybe she believes this is a dance class. Dresk attacked harder, frustration rising. His blows grew faster, heavier. The arena floor trembled with each impact. Lyra kept moving gently, softly, stepping left, stepping back, ducking, slipping past strikes. She never hit him, not once. Commander Rollix frowned. Trell watched with wide eyes, feathers trembling. She's too smooth. To calm. No new cadet moves like this. The audience only saw avoidance. Dresk roared. Fight back. Are you even trying? Lyra didn't answer. She made her movements small, measured. Just enough to avoid every attack without revealing the skill under her skin. Dresk lunged with full force. Lyra turned. A Zingo gentle palm tapped his chest. He stumbled forward. Not from force, just from his own speed. Commander Rollix raised a hand instantly. Advance 3 points by evasion. The arena erupted in noise. It's not real fighting. She didn't land a single hit. She's just lucky. Dresk growled. You did not win. You avoided losing. Lyra bowed politely. Thank you for the match. Her voice was calm and steady, but something inside her tightened. She wanted peace, but peace did not come easily when others smelled weakness. Trell fluttered to her side as she walked back. You could have ended that in 3 seconds if you wanted. I know it. Why don't you show them what you can do? Lyra shook her head. Because I don't want to hurt anyone. But they will hurt you if they think you are weak. She didn't reply. Next came team drills. Cadets were grouped into squads of 5 and sent into holographic missions. The arena filled with shifting walls, glowing barriers. In simulated enemies, Lyra was placed in Squad 12 with Trell, a silent amphibian named Zur, a tall human boy named Halen, and a cheerful but clumsy robotic engineer named Kiv. Their mission: capture the beacon at the center platform while enemy drones attacked. When the simulation started, everything fell into chaos. Zur froze when a drone fired near him. Kiv tripped over a barrier and dropped his scanner. Halen shouted instructions that made no sense. Trell tried to keep the group together. Wings flapping nervously, the drones swarmed Squad 12 panicked, except for Lyra. She read the battlefield instantly, but she could not reveal her instinct, not fully, so she guided instead. Take cover behind the left barrier. Halen, angle your shots upward. They track movement patterns. Kiv, reset your scanner. Terrell with me. Her voice stayed soft but firm. They listened. The drones advanced. Lyra stepped forward, drawing fire just enough so Trell could slip behind the back barrier. She dodged blast after blast to smoothly butt. Not enough to cause suspicion among trained soldiers. Terrell activated the beacon. The simulation ended. Squad 12 passed. Barely. Trell looked at her in awe. You keep doing this helping without showing your full strength? Why? Lyra gazed at the still glowing arena floor. Because showing it would change everything. And I want that to happen as late as possible. Break time arrived, but tension hung in the air. Cadets whispered as she passed. The human dodges everything. She's hiding something. Or she's just scared to fight. Voices overlapped. Some mocking, some curious, some suspicious. Dresk approached again. Chest puffed, teeth bared in frustration. You embarrassed me. Fight me again. Properly this time. Lyra shook her head gently. The match is over, coward Crixa hissed. You can't hide forever. Vorin's eyes glowed faintly as he tried to read her thoughts. He found nothing interesting, he murmured. Your mind is quiet. Too quiet. Terrell stepped between them, feathers raised. Leave her alone, Dresk leaned down. Stay out of this, bird. We are proving a point, Commander Ralix's voice thundered from behind. There will be no unauthorized duels in this hall. If you want a formal challenge, you know the procedure. Dresk's eyes gleamed. That was the moment everything changed, because Dresk, pride burning, wanted to crush the rumors that a small human girl had outplayed him. Fine, he growled. I invoke the right of merit, Irina gasped. The right of merit was an old academy rule, rarely used. It allowed a cadet to force a public challenge to prove skill or settle disputes. It was risky. It was dramatic. It was recorded for academy history, and now it was aimed at Lyra. Commander Ralix turned sharply. Cadet Dresk, that rule is not meant for. I submit my challenge, Dresk insisted. Ralix looked at Lyra. Cadet Vance, do you accept? Lyra's calm expression didn't shift, but inside her chest, something dropped like a weight. She did not want this. She did not want attention. She did not want her past to shadow her new life. But refusing was not an option. The academy would see her as weak or worse. Afraid, she inhaled gently. I accept. The arena exploded with noise. Trell's feathers flared in alarm. Lyra, no. He will fight you like a real warrior. He will not hold back. Lyra nodded quietly. I know. Her eyes lowered. She knew this was coming. She just hoped it would come later, because once she fought, seriously, once she stopped holding back, people would start asking. Questions. Questions that would eventually lead to the truth. The truth she had tried so hard to bury. Commander Ralix stepped forward, voice booming. The rite of merit will take place tomorrow morning. All cadets will attend. Prepare yourselves. The arena buzzed with excitement. Trell looked at Lyra with worried eyes. What will you do? Lyra turned her gaze toward the far end of the hall, where stars shone through the massive observation window. I will do what I must, she whispered. She had been running from her past for a long time, but tomorrow, even if she didn't want it, the galaxy would get its first glimpse of who she truly was, and nothing would ever be the same again. Morning arrived heavy, intense across Starwatch Academy. Even before the sun of Vexor Prime rose over the horizon, cadets were already packing into the Grand Combat Arena. It was rare for the stands to be full during training days. But today was different. Today was the rite of merit. Today, everyone wanted to see the quiet human girl face, the Academy's most aggressive warrior cadet. Terrell fluttered nervously near the edge of the arena, his feathers twitching with every loud noise. This is bad. It's very bad. Extremely bad. Why did she agree? Why didn't she run away? Humans can run fast. Yes, she should have run. A nearby cadet gave him a strange look. Trell ignored it and continued pacing. The arena floor shimmered as the automated systems prepared the simulation environment. T for the duel. Floating drones whirred overhead, ready to record everything for Academy archives. Holoscreens lit up along the walls, displaying the names. Dresgra Rosh versus Lyra. Vance eyed the crowd, murmured endlessly. The human is done for. Dresg will crush her. Why did she accept? Does she want to fail out? Maybe she thinks she can dodge again. Dresk stood at the center of the arena, armor plates gleaming. He cracked his knuckles loudly, his reptilian muscles tensing with excitement. Finally, the chance to show her real place here. His tail lashed behind him like a whip. Beside him stood Krixa and Vorin. Krixa clicked her mandibles in delight. Break her fast. We have classes later. Bren smiled faintly. No need to hurry. Let her struggle. It will be educational. Dresk grunted in agreement. The giant doors at the other end of the arena slid open. Lyra walked out, no armor, no special gear, no weapons, just her simple academy uniform and her calm, quiet eyes. The crowd reacted instantly, like she didn't even gear up. Someone should help her. Is she giving up? Terrell rushed to meet her halfway, wings flapping frantically. Lyra, what are you doing? Why didn't you request armor? Why didn't you request anything? At least carry a shield. Or a stick. Or a big rock. Lyra looked at him gently. It's fine.
It is not fine.
This is a duel. A real duel. With hits and pain and bruises and Dressic's tail. Do you know how hard his tail can hit? I saw him break a metal bench once. By accident? Lyra placed a hand on his shoulder. Thank you, Trell. But don't worry. Trell stared at her a long moment, then lowered his feathers. They don't know who you are, do they? Not really. She didn't answer. That was enough. Trell stepped back, worry glowing in his eyes. Commander Rollick stepped onto the platform between the two challengers. His cybernetic eye glowed brighter than usual. He did not look pleased. Cadet Dresk, Cadet Vance. His voice echoed through the arena. The right of merit is a respected tradition. You both understand the rules. This is not a duel to injure or destroy. It is a test of skill, awareness, and performance under pressure. Excessive force will result in instant disqualification. Dresk nodded stiffly. Lyra nodded calmly. Commander Rallix's gaze lingered on Lyra. If either of you wish to withdraw, now is the time. Dresk lifted his chin. I stand ready, Lyra answered softly. I accept the challenge. The crowd erupted with anticipation. Commander Rollick stepped back. Begin. The moment the word left Rallix's lips, the environment changed. The arena floor projected a simulation, a metallic jungle of ruined structures. Broken walls and shifting platforms rising from the ground. Lights flickered. Fog curled along the edges. It looked like a battlefield. Dresk roared and charged. Lyra remained still. Dresk's first punch hit the wall behind her as she moved at the last instant smooth. Light, like a breeze shifting past him. The wall cracked. The ground shook. The crowd gasped. Dreg attacked again. Spinning with a heavy tail strike, Lyra ducked. His tail sliced through empty air. Then he threw a barrage of blows. Each powerful enough to break bones, she slipped past them all. It was like watching water flow around stone. Crixus spat in irritation from the stands. She dodges again. Vorin narrowed his pale eyes. No, this time it's different. She is not avoiding, she is calculating. Look at her feet. Look at her eyes. She knows exactly where Dresk will strike. Before he strikes, Commander Rollix watched closely. He knew combat. He had seen warriors from every corner of the galaxy, and what he saw now was not the movement of a beginner. Lyra stepped aside as another of Drezik's strikes slammed into the ground, sending shards of simulated metal flying. She touched the air. She breathed. She flowed. The crowd grew confused. Why isn't she fighting back? She's just avoiding everything. This isn't skill, it's stalling. Dresk growled in frustration. Stand and fight, human. Fight me. Lyra looked at him with a soft, sad expression. When I war, Dresk roared for real this time. He charged with a full-force tackle, too fast for a normal human to dodge, too powerful for a normal human to stop. But Lyra moved. In one clean motion, she turned her body, placed her hand on Dresk's shoulder, and guided his momentum past her. Not pushing, not striking, simply redirecting. Dresk flew. He crashed into a simulated pillar that shattered under his weight. The entire arena went silent. Dresk stood, shaking his head, shocked. How? Lyra shook her head softly. Stop. I don't want to hurt you. Dresk bared his teeth. You can't hurt me. He charged again. The simulation shifted under their feet, forming narrow platforms and rising towers. Dresk leaped from one to the next with surprising agility for his size. But Lyra was already above him. The entire arena blinked. She had jumped, but the jump was too high, too fast, too controlled. For a moment, the world slowed. Lyra flipped through the air and landed silently on a tall structure. Watching Dresk struggle to locate her, Trell whispered from the sidelines, "She's not supposed to be able to do that. Humans can't jump like that? Unless she's Lyra." Dropped down behind Dresk. He spun, tail swinging. She caught it with one hand. The crowd gasped. Even Commander. Lex's mechanical eye flickered in shock. Lyra held Dresk's tail only long enough to redirect it gently. He stumbled forward, but did not fall. She did not strike. She refused. Dresk roared in fury and shame. "Stop holding back!" Lyra's eyes flickered. For the first time, a shadow of something darker passed over her face. She stepped back. "I don't want to do this." But Dresk didn't hear. He charged again. He swung, clawed, slammed his tail, roared in frustration, and Lyra. She finally moved differently, not softly, not quietly, precisely, sharply, effortlessly. Her hands guided strikes away. Her feet found impossible angles. Her posture shifted into something ancient and deadly. Like a soldier remembering an old rhythm, the arena erupted with whispers. "She's been hiding her strength. That movement, did you see that? That's not academy training, that's something else." Voron's eyes widened. "I can feel it now. Her mind isn't quiet. It's locked down. Something trained her to hide everything: emotion, presence, instinct. What kind of training does that?" The final moment came suddenly. Dresk made one last desperate swing. Lyra stepped inside the arc, placed two fingers gently against his chest and pushed. It was barely a touch, but Dresk flew backward like he'd been hit by a shockwave. He crashed onto the ground and slid until his back hit a simulated wall. The arena fell silent. Lyra didn't move. Her breathing didn't change. Her hands didn't shake. She only said quietly, "The match is over." Commander Rollix lifted his hand. "Winner, Cadet Lyra Vance." The cheers never came, only stunned silence. Dresk stared at her from the floor, shock and fear mixing in his reptilian eyes. "What? What are you?" Lyra looked away. "Just a cadet." But the way the entire arena stared at her, it was clear they no longer believed that. Somewhere in the stands, a senior officer whispered into a communicator, "Send word to command. The girl has revealed herself. Prepare to unseal the files." Because after today, there was no hiding anymore, and Lyra knew it. Her past was coming for her. The academy halls felt different the next morning. The air was heavy, as if everyone was holding their breath. Whispers moved through the corridors like tiny storms, jumping from one cadet to another. Every conversation started the same way. "Did you see her yesterday? How did she move like that? No normal cadet can do that." Lyra Vance walked through the same halls, her steps calm and steady, but inside her mind, there was a quiet tension. She knew people were talking. She felt their eyes following her, watching her like she was some strange puzzle. Some looked scared, some confused, and some finally looked respectful. But to Lyra, all the looks felt the same. They reminded her of a past she was trying to leave behind. Terrell, a small avian cadet, hurried beside her, his feathers puffed from nervousness. "Lyra, there is a message for you," he whispered. She stopped. "From who?" Trell swallowed. "The Commandant. He wants to see you." Now, Lyra felt a cold weight in her stomach. Commandant Rollix did not call cadets unless something serious had happened. She nodded once and walked toward the main tower. The Commandant's office, the wide doors opened with a low mechanical hum. Commandant Rollix stood near the center of the room, hands behind his back, his long cloak brushing the floor. His sharp eyes lifted as she entered. "Cadet Vance," he said, voice deep and steady. "Sit." She sat without a word. There was a long silence. Then the Commandant activated a holographic display, and a large file appeared in the air between them. It shimmered with red warning marks. Classified. Level Omega. Authorized personnel only. Lyra's chest tightened. She recognized it immediately. Her past. Her missions. Her record, the Commandant watched her reaction. You know what this is, don't you? She nodded slowly. Yes, sir. I thought it was locked forever, Frolic sighed. It was. But after yesterday's incident, the Coalition Council demanded answers. They want to know why a cadet can move like a trained shadow operative. Why a supposed colony girl has the skill to defeat 3 senior cadets in seconds. He tapped the hologram. Had to unseal your file. Lyra lowered her eyes. Sir, I did not want this. I only wanted peace. Ralix's expression softened slightly. I know. But peace rarely stays with people like you. He opened the file. The record revealed the hologram displayed photos. Mission logs, medals, and dark reports filled with censored lines. It showed a young girl, younger than the age to join any academy, already training under military officers. It showed missions behind enemy lines. It showed destruction, loss, and survival. And the header, Task Force Helios, Special Operations Human Division. Operative Lyra Vance, codename Sunstrike Cattrall, who had been allowed in as a witness, gasped softly. This is impossible. Humans don't send children into war. Lyra closed her eyes for a moment. That war was different. The Oblivion threat didn't care about rules or ages. They attacked every colony, every ship, every living thing. Humanity fought with everything it had, including me. The Commandant spoke quietly. You were the sole survivor of Helios Squad. 53 soldiers went in. Only 1 came out. Silence washed over the room. Lyra did not speak. She did not need to. The past echoed loudly on its own. Trell finally asked, Why hide this? You could be a hero. Lyra shook her head. A hero? No. I was a weapon. A tool trained to do things no child should ever learn. When the war ended, I begged them to let me leave, to let me live like a normal human. So the council sealed my file and allowed me to join the academy as a regular student. Her voice softened. But I guess peace does not last forever. Rumors turned to truth by midday. Every cadet in the academy knew. Holographic boards replayed the simulation fight. Names, theories, and wild guesses flew across student chat channels. Some cadets were excited, some scared, and some angry that the academy had kept secrets. The bullies Raxer, Vexlin, and Jurna stayed strangely quiet. They had not spoken since the simulation. For the first time, they looked unsure. As Lyra walked through the cafeteria for lunch, the room fell silent. Dozens of eyes locked onto her. She could feel their questions pressing into her skin like cold needles. A group of cadets stood up and bowed slightly. A gesture of respect in many cultures across the coalition. Lyra winced inwardly. This was exactly what she never wanted. Someone called. Trell waved at her from a corner table. She hurried to sit with him, grateful for at least one familiar face. Are you okay? He asked softly. I will be, she replied. But I didn't want any of this. I didn't want them to know. But they needed to know the truth, Terrell said. You saved that cadet yesterday, and you saved your whole squad in the war. That is not something to hide. Lyra looked down at her hands. They were steady, calm, controlled. But she remembered times when they had not been, when they were covered in mud, blood, and ash. I didn't save them, she whispered. I survived. That is different. A visit from the bullies that evening, Lyra returned to her room. As she opened the door, she froze. The 3 bullies stood inside, waiting. Raxer the Saurian lifted his hands quickly. We are not here to fight. Vexlin added. We came to talk. Lyra stepped inside cautiously. About what? Another challenge? Jurna shook his head. No, about you. Raxer's posture lowered. a gesture of apology in his species. We mocked you. We thought you were weak, but you were hiding strength we can't understand. Lyra stayed silent. Vexlin, usually arrogant, spoke quietly. We didn't know what you went through. No one would have guessed, and we were wrong. Lyra looked at them carefully. She saw no anger, no mocking smiles, only confusion and guilt. I did not want you to know, she said softly. And I don't want to be treated as anything special. I just want to be a cadet, like everyone else. Jurna nodded. Then let us start again. No challenges, no mocking, just equals. For the first time since arriving at the academy, Lyra felt a small spark of relief. All right, she said. We can start again. The three cadets bowed and left her room quietly. A new storm approaches later that night. Lyra sat by the window, watching the stars outside the academy dome. The universe felt peaceful, but she knew better than to trust appearances. Trell entered softly. You are thinking again. She gave him a small smile. Always. The commandant said the council opened your file because of pressure, Trell said. Why would they suddenly care? Lyra's smile faded. She gazed at the stars. 'Cause something must be happening out there, she whispered. Something dangerous, something they think might require people like me again. Trell's feathers trembled. You think the Oblivion threat is returning? Lyra didn't answer. She didn't need to. A cold feeling twisted in her chest, an old instinct waking. Peace was ending, and she feared she would soon be called to fight once more. The academy was quiet the next morning. More quiet than usual. It felt like the entire place was holding its breath. Training drills continued, classes ran as normal, but there was a heavy tension underneath everything. Cadets whispered in corners, instructors spoke in low voices, and every digital notice board kept flashing the same message. Coalition alert level. RISC and Jalira. Felt the change in the air the moment she stepped outside her room. It was the same feeling she had before a battle still, sharp and heavy. The kind of silence that warned a storm was coming. Terrell met her in the hallway. His feathers fluffed nervously. Lyra, did you see the new alert? She nodded. Yes, something is happening. In the council opening my file, that wasn't random. Trell swallowed hard. Do you think the threat is real? The one from your past? Lyra didn't answer. Deep inside, she already knew. The gathering that afternoon, the academy called for a full assembly. Every cadet, every instructor, and every staff member gathered inside the massive central hall. The air was electric with fear and curiosity. Commandant Rollick stepped onto the platform. His expression was stern, sharper than usual. Cadets, he began, his voice echoing across the hall, we face a situation of great importance. The Coalition has detected unusual activity in the outer sectors. Ships have gone missing. Colonies have reported shadows in deep space, and a research station vanished without a trace 2 nights ago. Gasps spread through the crowd. Rollix continued, we are not certain what caused these events, but the patterns match reports from the Oblivion Wars. Every cadet turned toward Lyra. She kept her face calm, but inside her chest her heart hammered. We are raising our alert level, Rollix said. Cadets will continue training, but be prepared to support evacuation missions or defense lines if needed. You are no longer just students. You may soon be soldiers. He looked directly at Lyra. And some of you may be more important than you know. The assembly dismissed. But no one truly left in peace. Shadows in orbit later that evening. Lyra stood at the Academy's observation deck. The wide glass dome showed the stars clearly. They looked peaceful, distant, and uncaring. Terrell joined her, followed by the 3 former bullies, Raxelin and Jurna. Lyra turned in surprise. Raxer stepped forward. We heard rumors. They say the council might call you. Lyra looked back at the sky. Yes, if the threat is the same enemy, they will want someone who has dealt with it before. Vexlin fidgeted nervously. But you can't face that alone. Lyra allowed herself a small smile. I won't. Not this time. Jurna nodded. Then we want to stand with you. Trell stepped closer. All of us do. Lyra felt a warm pressure in her chest. For the first time, she didn't feel alone. For the first time, she felt like she had allies, friends. But the moment didn't last, because the academy alarms suddenly screamed. Red lights flashed across the walls. A robotic voice spoke through every speaker. Incoming distress signal. Priority level 1 cadets rushed across the halls. Instructors shouted orders. The academy transformed from a peaceful place of learning into a war preparation zone in seconds. Commandant Rollix appeared on every screen. All senior cadets to the operations room. Now Lyra felt her pulse quicken. She sprinted toward the operations center with the others. The distress signal the operations room was full of frantic movement. Screens glowed with alerts and maps. Officers spoke in rushed voices. Rollix pointed to the main display. A transport ship on the outer route sent a signal before disappearing off radar. This is the last message. The recording played static, screaming, the sound of metal tearing, then a voice. They're back in silence. The room froze. Raxor's scales trembled. It's them. It has to be, Trell whispered. Oblivion forces. After all these years, Lyra closed her eyes. The memories rushed back, dark creatures, silent ships, entire stations gone in minutes. She took a slow breath, then stepped forward. Commander, she said firmly, send us. We can scout the location. We can confirm the threat. We are trained enough. Rollix stared at her. You are still cadets. I cannot risk, sir, Lyra interrupted. If the threat is real, you don't have time to wait for full fleets. You need fast eyes. You need small teams. You need people who won't freeze at the first sign of danger. Her eyes met his. You need me. The room was silent. Then Rollix exhaled slowly. Very well. You will lead a reconnaissance unit, but you do not engage. You observe and return. Understood? Lyra nodded. Understood. Trell, Raxor, Vexlin, and Jerna stepped forward. We go with her, they said together. Rollix hesitated, then nodded. Prepare your gear. Your shuttle leaves in 1 hour. The mission begins. The Academy hangar was a storm of movement drones, lifting containers, engineers running diagnostics, cadets scrambling to their stations. Lyra stood beside the shuttle, checking her equipment. Simple, light, and efficient. She wasn't allowed to use her old Helios gear, but she didn't need it. Terrell secured the navigation codes. Raxor tested the weapon, reviewed emergency protocols. Vexlin checked communication channels for the first time. They worked together perfectly. Commandant Rollix approached them. He placed a hand on Lyra's shoulder. Cadet Vance. No, Lyra. You have carried a heavy past alone. B.